my name is Katie and it's time for another H&K update. I figured I should probably do one because it's been a couple months since I did my last one. My last one was at the beginning of summer and now we're almost halfway through August, so I should probably do one. Instead of just telling you the shows I'm currently watching, I also want to tell you about the shows I've just finished because I don't plan on reviewing all of them. If you really want to review on one of them, I will consider it. Let me know in the comments. But I'm going to tell you the shows I finished, as well as the shows I'm currently watching, as well as the stuff I'm listening to and the manga I'm reading and all of that. Let's get started. Let's start off with K-drama. Now, I just finished watching Mask, and Mask was absolutely fabulous. I talked about it in my last H&K update. It was so good. It was intense, dark, complicated, romantic. So good. The chemistry between Joo Ji-hoon and what's-her-face, the gal who played the female lead. Oh my gosh, I'm so bad with names, like, I can't remember. Their chemistry was so good. So good. And Joo Ji-hoon, I hadn't seen him in anything since Goong, and he was fabulous. I love him. He was so great, especially since he played a character with OCD, and it was just awesome. I loved the villains in Mask because they were so complicated. Their stories were just as interesting as the main characters, and it made the show suspenseful, and I did cry. Surprisingly, I cried over a death that I thought I would not cry over. If you've watched Mask, you know which death I'm talking about. It's in the last episode, and the villains were just very complex. Let's just leave it at that. But Mask was fabulous, and I loved the OST. Lin did the main theme, and she is most well known for singing My Destiny from My Love from Another Star. In Mask, she sings Only One Day, and I love that song. Lin has such a nice voice. So I just finished Mask, and I loved it. If you haven't watched it, highly recommend. I very much would suggest watching it. It was just so good. And then I went on a little break from drama. I've been watching a lot of anime since Mask ended, which I'll talk about in just a minute. But then, like 2 days ago, I decided to just see what was currently airing. So I started watching Scholar Who Walks the Night, and I'm up to episode 11. I have not watched episode 12, that just came out today, and I'm waiting for it to be fully subbed on Viki, because Viki is ahead of Drama Fever on the episodes, so I'm watching it on there. But it's fabulous. Lee Yu-bi is the female lead, and she was in Pinocchio. She was the second female lead, and I loved her in Pinocchio, and she's fabulous in Scholar Who Walks the Night. Also, Changmin from TVXQ is in this show as well. He plays a prince, and he has a beard, so yeah, go watch it. If you do not know, Scholar Who Walks the Night is a historical vampire romance drama, which sounds crazy, but it's about this vampire who rules over the king, and many years ago, one of the kings made an oath that all the generations following his reign will serve this vampire whose name is Gui. And so he's been ruling over the king for hundreds of years, and then this prince comes along and he wants to dethrone Gui and get rid of him, but he dies. So then this guy gets turned into a vampire, and we fast forward to 120 years later, and this guy who is the vampire is still searching for a way to defeat Gui when he comes across this girl who is cross-dressing as a bookseller, and she might hold the key to defeating the evil vampire. So it sounds crazy. This show is cheesy, but it's not, and I love it. Like, the first episode, there were really bad CGI effects, and I mean, it's not a big deal, but it just kind of added an element of cheese. But this show is giving me so many feels. So many. I've just been fangirling because vampires. And I actually haven't watched Blood yet. Hannah has, but I haven't. So this is my first vampire K-drama. This isn't my first historical drama, but it's my first vampire drama. And yes, I've seen all the Twilight movies, and I'm very pleased that this is not giving me Twilight vibes. It's just not. And I'm just very happy with that, because I don't want to get Twilight vibes from the show. It's just so good. The acting is amazing, the costumes and the makeup are great, and the soundtrack is pretty good. It's not really standing out to me right now, but it's solid. this show is just definitely one you should be watching, especially if you're into the kind of paranormal fantasy romance or historical dramas. Just go watch Scholar Who Walks the Night, because I'm currently obsessed with it. Okay, on to anime. Now, I finished 2 anime recently. First up is Yumero Patissiere, and this is... okay, I started watching this a while ago. The first season has 50 episodes, and the second season has 13 episodes. I watched both seasons. Now, when I first started watching it, I think I just heard someone talking about it on YouTube, so I'm like, oh, okay, I'll check it out. It was so, like, overwhelmingly cute and cheesy. It's about 12-year-olds who bake. But I kept watching it, and it's so addicting. It really is addicting, and it's, like, about this girl who goes to this culinary school for, like, becoming a patissiere, and she, like, meets these 3 guys who are called the Sweets Princes. They're like the F4 of this school, and she has all sorts of adventures with them, because of course she gets put in a group with them, and it's really sweet and sugary. Yes, pun intended. But I liked it. I became addicted to it. I do wish there was more, because I want more. And I have no shame. I watched 63 episodes of baking anime, and I loved it. My little brother is actually currently watching this show, and he's already almost done with the first season. It's that good. It really is good. If you can put up with the cheese and sweetness, then you will like this. I also just finished watching Death Parade. I've been wanting to watch Death Parade for quite a while. I just never got around to it because there were other shows I was watching, and I don't know. But I did start watching Death Parade, and I finished it within like 2 days because it was freaking amazing. It was so dark, and like it was really interesting. It makes you think existential thoughts, because it has to do with life and death and the nature of humans, and it was so interesting. It's about people who die. When they die, they either get to go to heaven or hell, of course, or in other words, go into the void, hell, or be reincarnated, which is heaven. And sometimes couples end up at this bar where they play a game to decide who goes where, and it sounds weird. I know I'm really bad at explaining this, but oh my gosh, I was not expecting to feel this many emotions. It was an emotional roller coaster, especially towards the end, and I really want more because there were some open ends. I'm not sure if we'll get a second season or if I just need to read the manga. I don't know, but it was really good, and I loved the animation. It was done by Madhouse, and I've watched some other anime by Madhouse. They're pretty good. Also, the soundtrack was so good. I loved the opening theme so much. It was like very upbeat and kind of happy for such a dark anime, but it was like, it's one of those opening themes that you never skip because it's that fabulous. So I very much enjoyed Death Parade, and also if you have not watched it, I would highly suggest it. And currently I am watching Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood. Now, Fullmetal Alchemist is one of those animes that everyone has seen. It's a classic and everyone says you have to watch it. And I finally got around to watching it because, like, I have friends who love Fullmetal Alchemist and all that. And I am watching Brotherhood because I looked at comments and reviews and talked to some people, and everyone says you should watch Brotherhood instead of just Fullmetal Alchemist. They said if Brotherhood follows the manga closer, which I have not read the manga. So let me know your opinion on that down below, I guess. I mean, if I like Brotherhood enough, which I've started it, I'm a few episodes in, I'm very much enjoying it. I might watch the original, but if it's not worth it, I won't. But hey, Fullmetal Alchemist, I'm finally watching it. I don't think I need to explain what it's about because you should just have seen it already. I'm way behind on jumping on the bandwagon yet again. But hey, I'm finally watching it. Yeah. As for manga, I am not like currently reading anything, but I just recently read volume 2 of Itazura no Kisu. I am just kind of reading Itazura no Kisu whenever I feel like it. The art isn't especially good, but I'm like one of those diehard fans, so I'm reading it because I like the story and I watched the anime and nearly all the dramas, so yeah. I also read volume 1 of Kami-sama Hajime Moshita, and I love Kami-sama Hajime Moshita. I've watched both seasons of the anime, and I'm just kind of reading manga whenever I feel like it. I'm not really being an avid reader. I'm just kind of picking up a volume whenever I have some free time. So I'm not really reading a lot, just kind of reading. That made not very much sense. And as for K-pop, I actually took a little break from K-pop. I hadn't been listening to it for a while because I was getting into some really indie rock, grunge-ish music for a while. Don't know why. So I was listening to that for a while. But as for K-pop, I've been listening to a lot of VIX lately. I don't know. I've just been listening to their various albums. I really like their slow songs. Their voices are totally showcased in their slow songs. I mean, not that their fast songs aren't good, because those are good too. But the solos and the slow, beautiful tones in their slow songs are to die for. Like, they are so good. Hannah knows a lot more about VIX than I do, so we could probably fangirl with her over your oppas and biases. But I really do like their voices, and they're fabulous. I've also been listening to Lin, as I talked about earlier, because she's fabulous as well. K-pop, pretty much lately, it's just been VIX and Lin, but mostly VIX. So that is it for this H&K update. I will see you soon in another video. I don't know if Hannah and I are going to be filming anything soon, or if I'm going to review anything soon. Let me know if you do want to review on any of these things I've talked about. I may or may not do one. I don't know. So I will see you soon. Let me know what you're watching down below. I'd be happy to discuss any of these shows. And be sure to leave your show recommendations, because I always like getting more recommendations. So I will see you soon. Annyeong!